But I think you're a bigger fan overall than I
am. Yeah, I shaved my fucking beard like a damn loser, and I got this hat on. No, I'm not a loser. So why don't you kill me?
I'm not a coward. I've just never been tested. I'd like to think that if I was, I would pass the Mario dance. Do the Mario. Do you have any thoughts on that?
At the end where it's like, let's do the Mario all together now. You got it. It's the Mario. Do the Mario. Swing your arms from side to side. Come on, it's time to go. Do the Mario. Take one step and then again. Let's do the Mario all together now. Come on now. Just like that. It's Captain Lou essentially telling you to fucking walk.
Exactly. It's not a dance. That's called walking.
Yeah.
You take a step and then the next and you swing your arms.
Yeah. It's like 2 arms, 1 head, 2 legs. I'm like, that describes every upright walking humanoid in existence. I was like, was this just like
humanoid?
Yeah. What? Wait, what's wrong?
Are there humanoids on Earth that aren't humans? I guess apes. Are they humanoids? Sorry.
No, now I'm like...
You use the term humanoid. Bigfoot's a humanoid.
That's true. Mamma mia.
Whoa.
How are you?
Pretty good, paisano.
Friend or countryman? Well, welcome to the Buddy Shots podcast. Actually, this isn't a podcast. It's a live-action thrill ride. Actually, it's not. It is live-action, though. But this is the 76th episode, and it's pretty much Super Mario week, because we're doing the Super Show and the movie.
It's Mike Week.
Mike Week. Oh, yeah, I forgot. It is Mike Week. But this does not cover the Mario movie that isn't out yet with Chris Pratt. I'm sure we'll do that at some point. But
it's going to be great.
Yeah. So, we've got some taglines here from the Super Mario Brothers movie. I want you to tell me what you think of these. Anything is possible. You just got to believe in it. That is like the most generic shit.
Yeah.
A bright, clamorous extravaganza? That's also like super generic.
Also, this movie wasn't very bright.
Yeah.
It was more dim.
Where the game ends, the movie begins.
Okay.
This ain't no game. It's a live-action thrill ride. That's the one I've heard the most. And then this one. This ain't no game.
This ain't no game!
Can 2 plumbers save the world from going down the drain? I didn't even realize. Are we... Okay, if the audio is on. Yeah. I feel like the first couple didn't really have anything to do with the film.
Yeah,
it's
those
like
are
you could have just put those on anything.
Exactly.
It's like, okay. But I guess before we get into nerd news, I guess James Caan just passed away. So rest in peace.
Sonny.
That sucks.
Yeah, that sucks.
He seemed kind of... When I saw him, like, in a recent thing with, I guess, like... Because I follow, what's his name?
James Caan?
Yeah, no.
Which I do follow him on Twitter. He was a great follow because he, hardly ever posted
I didn't even know
anything.
He had anything.
Yeah, he rarely posted, but he would usually
That's like
post,
Anthony Hopkins. He would post on Twitter, but when he did, it was, the most stupid and scary shit I've ever seen.
Scary?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What was scary?
Do you not follow him?
No.
Yeah, he's like...
Just
shit like that.
Faces?
Yeah. I was like, huh? But, what's his name? The guy from GoldenEye? James Bond? That actor?
Pierce
He's,
Brosnan?
friends with him, and he posted something on, I guess the last thing he did with him, and, he was looking pretty old, so...
Mr. Doubtfire himself, Pierce Brosnan.
Yep. He's run by fruiting. Yeah.
Of course, my favorite James Caan movie, his best role was as the villain in Eraser. You remember that? With Arnold? One of Arnold's, D-level movies. Still good, though.
Yeah. So, are you ready to move on to...
Who would win in a fight, James Caan or Arnold? The most mismatched villain ever.
That's the villains at the end of Equilibrium. Christian Bale versus, It's like Obama versus, G.I. Joe.
See our previous episode.
Yeah.
That hilarious laugh riot
Mismatch.
equilibrium.
It's like Stone Cold versus Vince McMahon. It's like, what? Even though Vince McMahon was jacked. Okay, so I guess let's get on to nerd news, because
Nerd news.
got a ton of crap to talk about here this week. I had a ton of nerd news, but I cut a bunch out because I just wanted to
Let's make it quick, short and sweet.
Focus on something hilarious here. Some more ridiculous bullshit from James Cameron.
That was mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, how about you go ahead and...
He's at it again. Like
Yeah.
every time he talks, he says something hilarious. But basically, he's responding to the criticism that hasn't happened yet, but will happen when Avatar comes out.
Okay, so I have two of these. So you have the one about people complaining about Avatar?
Yeah.
Okay.
He said the trolls will have it that nobody gives a shit and they can't remember the characters' names or one damn thing that happened in the movie. Then they see the movie again and go, okay, excuse me, let me just shut the fuck up right now. So I'm not worried about that. So basically his point is that like everyone criticizes Avatar, yet it made so much money and everyone saw it.
Except for me.
Except for you.
Which means nobody saw it.
Exactly.
So if you're one of these people that continue to rip on Avatar, all you have to do is watch the movie again and you'll see the light. Yeah. The other thing I have here is something that he said also about something. I don't want anybody whining about length when they sit and binge watch television for 8 hours. I can almost write this part of the review. The astonishingly long 3-hour movie. It's like, give me a fucking break. I've watched my kids sit and do five 1-hour episodes in a row. And I'm like...
Which I agree with him, like...
I don't at all. Like, if the shit that he's making is shit and it's super long, then why the fuck would you want to sit there?
Well, it's not about the... He's just commenting about the length part.
Yeah, but that still is wrong. Because you can... With a movie, like a show, you could get up at any time. I guess you could do that with a movie, too.
Yeah. People... It's just the hypocrisy of someone saying they don't want to watch a long movie, yet they'll watch hours and hours of TV.
It's probably because the TV usually is better.
Yeah, but it's not about the quality, it's about the length.
I think that's the real reason. Like, I would watch a movie that was really long if it was good, but a lot of times a movie that's that long ends up not being good.
Very true.
So once again, I'm right. Or am I?
I wasn't arguing.
Why not?
Because it's not the point. Moving on.
No comment. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say. Is James Cameron's a piece of shit. So
I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, he's always it's like him and Michael Bay always come out with these ridiculous things, and it's definitely worth looking at because they're insane, and it's hilarious. Just like the quotes, because it's like it's funny because it's one of those things where a lot of this stuff is like you were saying, it's preemptive.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's almost nothing that they respond to. It's almost always like, before the critics get to this, I'm gonna say this shit, and we're like, what?
They know what's gonna happen,
right? It's like, okay, dude.
And he's right. That movie's gonna come out. Everyone's gonna slam it. Yet it's gonna make billions of dollars. So
maybe. It depends. I don't know if people... I do agree, like, the first one, like you said, like, it did make a lot of money, but if people look back on it and they were like, that movie was shit, then it's kind of like, who's going to go see it? Because the Jurassic World, the first one, made a bunch of money, and I think the second one might have made a bunch of money, too, but I guess it's probably...
the third one just came out.
I think it's probably because there's just a lot of dumbasses out there.
Yeah, everyone's...
It's not like the movie...
I want to see dinosaurs.
Well, it's because, like, it's not like these Avatar movies are any good. Like, he's like, it's still gonna... People are still gonna go see it. It's like, yeah, because they're idiots. That's why we've got so many of these shitty movies that come out. Not because they're good. Like, he's acting like he's making Citizen Kane over here when he's making Citizen Come.
But Michael Bay made the Citizen Kane of action movies this year. Ambulance.
That dumbass. Kiss my ass. Okay. Do you have any recommendations?
Ambulance.
You can't recommend...
I already did. Oh.
Sadly. Recommended that dog
Is that
shit
good?
To our viewers. Do you have... But you don't have any this week? Okay. I have a buddy tale, actually.
Ah.
It's just going to be a short and sweet one, though. So, last week before we went on, you told me about you guys went to New York and saw like an ape puking in its fucking hand and eating it. Mm-hmm. And I got home and I told my dad about that, and he was like, yeah, that's pretty messed up. Almost as messed up as when we went to the zoo and a monkey was jerking off. And I was like, what? I don't remember this. Apparently we went there when we were really young. And my dad saw it and like just moved us all, even my mom, to like another like area of the park. And I was just for all these years, he's been living with that. He's probably like shocked.
Living with the shame.
Yeah. He's like,
dude, I wonder if it was a young Harambe.
Or Scapelli from Super Mario Brothers.
Harambe Origins.
Either, God. He's like, oh. Yeah.
That gives a new meaning to going ape.
I can't believe that.
That's hilarious.
Oh, we got a comment on your hat.
Ah.
Nice hat comment.
What about your hat?
I'm old news.
Where's your M? Everybody
is so shocked with my shitting on James Cameron. I'm just about to be... I'm canceled now. I'm fucked.
He'll be canceled long before you are.
Ah. Nice music. It'll be a race. So, Jesus Christ. Okay. So, let's move on to... I'm just going to do this because this is kind of like the segment that you kind of came up with about top 5 Mario Brothers games.
I thought it'd be fun, and then I made my list, and I was like, this is generic.
It's your list.
It's like basic bitch list.
Well, we'll never...
We'll find out.
I was about to say we'll never know. We will know in like 5 seconds.
Like, I'm taking this to the grave.
Sorry, guys. You know, there's just all these mysteries in the world. How the pyramids were built, you know, all this other shit. But, actually, I don't think that's a mystery. It was like slave labor, right?
I don't know.
I don't know. But, yeah. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. So is your list in order?
Yes.
So is mine.
Ah.
Should we start at 5?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So, number 5. So for number 5, I wanted to pick, you know, a game that most of these aren't exactly like my most favorite in this order, but they were also like the most impactful for me. So like at 5, I have Super Mario Brothers 3.
Nice.
1988.
Yeah, that was very close to making my list.
Game released.
I was so excited when that game came out, and but I didn't have enough money to buy it. And I remember I kept complaining about it week after week. I was like, I want this game. Your dad we were little kids. We were like 5 or 6 years old back then.
Your dad's like, shut the fuck up, here's the game.
And my dad was like, all right, let's go for a walk. And we were walk down our street, and he's like, whoa, there's a $20 bill right there on the sidewalk. And I was like, well, what are the odds?
He was essentially like, dude, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I was like, here you go.
That's awesome.
We'll go get it.
I actually have a story about that. My cousin, there was like a sweepstakes, and my cousin actually won Super Mario Brothers 3 in I think it was like Oreos or whatever it was, but she
actually won? That's hilarious.
I was like, holy shit, dude.
Amazing.
Yeah. Wonderful, even. What's your number 5?
My number 5 is Mario Tennis from Virtual Boy.
Ah.
Because that was the one and only good Virtual Boy game. But you couldn't play it for more than 5 minutes.
I think you were the only person I knew that actually owned one. We rented one, and
you knew that it was garbage.
Well, it was enough. It was we were all getting headaches and shit.
The tennis game was good, but the system was basically unplayable because it hurt your eyes so badly.
See the AVG episode is a classic.
Yeah. I remember after you play that thing for a few minutes, coming out of it, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it didn't scramble my brain.
Call me Junior. Yeah, it was. To say it was primitive virtual reality is being kind.
Yeah.
How about number 4? For number 4, I picked Super Mario World.
Nice.
1990, just a couple years later from Super Mario Bros. 3.
That's higher up on my list.
Ah, it's a revolution.
Yeah.
It's a freak.
Number 4 for me is Mario Teaches Typing 2. Which I sent you that clip. Had you ever heard of that game? Or did you
I had, yeah.
So, like, that game was awesome, and I played it all the time, and I learned how to type, like, really well.
Nice.
Because, like, my parents made us play it for, like, 15 minutes every day. And it was fun, and I honed my skills. So thanks, Mario.
Yeah, the one that you sent me was, like, just a bunch of outtakes of Charles Martinet going ape shit.
But that was actually in the game.
Yeah. It was like... Huh? But, yeah. Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Number 3. I picked Mario Kart 64. 1996. Great
That's my
game.
number 3 as well.
Nice. Yeah, like at first I wasn't sure. I was like, well, he said Mario games, but did he mean like mainline Mario games? But I was like, well, I'm going to go ahead and put it on here anyway because I personally think it, all these games, it counts and stuff. I mean, but yeah, I love this game.
We played it so much back in the day.
Yeah, back on Nintendo 64, I mean, that's the main reason why the name of the channel is Steak Belmont 64 is because 64, I mean, and 64 was like a revelation. GoldenEye and all these other great games and stuff. Mario Kart 64, of course, came out. I remember waiting for that game, and it like was supposed to come out like earlier in the year, and they pushed it back to like November or December, and we like eventually we got it at like the mall, like EB Games at the mall or whatever. And yeah, or I guess back then it was called like Electronics Boutique. Mm-hmm. But yeah, good stuff, man.
I wondered if you preferred that one over the Super Nintendo one.
I do. Yeah.
So do I.
I actually, yeah, like Super, like obviously without Super Mario Kart, there would be no other Mario Karts. I mean, there might be eventually, but like it obviously like set the whole trend of like, hey, we're gonna do like racing games with Mario, but like that first game was like shit compared to the other ones. Like it was just too hard to control the characters, and there really was no drifting. It was mainly just like you would skid everywhere. So it was like, dude, how the fuck are you supposed to win in these fucking matches? Yeah. Oh, the only other thing I can think of is I remember I would have people over and I'd have tournaments and I would make those huge banners. It was like Mario Kart 64, like the old printers. It would be like, zzz, zzz, and it was like, yeah. So, number 2. So my number 2 is Super Mario Galaxy, 2007.
Wow.
Great game.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I agree.
I remember when this game came out, I was just like kind of blown away because it gave me like kind of a feeling that like some of the other games had. So I think that's why I have this one so high on the list. Yeah,
it's very well made. Very polished.
Because I liked Mario. What was it? Sunshine was okay. Like I thought, but it was like
the first major misstep.
The controls were kind of fucked up in that game, and I think even like today, a lot of people are like the controls aren't super great. Like the game was way too hard for what it should have been.
Yeah.
And I mean, having said that, I'm sure we both beat it, but it was like
I don't know if I ever finished that one.
It wasn't like I don't know. I like the idea of like a summer vacation kind of thing, like a whatever it was, but like it was like just too what's the word, like hard and different. I don't know. Wasn't super great. It wasn't horrible, but what's your number 2?
Super Mario World.
Ah, you like Mario Teaches Typing too. Yeah, and I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, that game's amazing.
Yeah,
I still play it. It still holds up. There's a few of the levels at the very end that I still haven't beat that I hope to one day.
Nice.
You know those like super secret hard levels?
Yeah, the ones in the star after you get through the Star Road and then you get to the secret level.
Yeah, they're really hard.
Yeah, we beat that one, and like I have the cartridge at home, but I think what happened was like the battery died at one point, and so it's like once that happens, you can't keep a save. So it's like, well,
yeah.
But yeah, we played the hell out of that game. It would be higher on the list, but there's a couple that I had to put higher because of being like a Mario fanatic and playing like so much of, I pretty much have played all the games throughout, the time and stuff. So do you have any honorable mentions before we get to number one? I have a couple here.
I would say the original Super Mario Bros. For Nintendo.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because that was the first like home video game I ever saw. My neighbors had one, and like my DNA was altered when I saw that. I was like, "What is this?" Like I knew what arcade games were.
Your DNA was altered.
Yeah, but I was like,
you were like,
video games are amazing.
You were like, oh.
I turned into a mutant.
You're like, oh. And everybody's like, what?
Like goon, like a goon.
It's like, heh. So I have a couple honorable mentions here. Super Mario Brothers 2. I remember that being one that was like, I was so young that I couldn't really do shit in it, so my dad beat the game.
Nice.
Super Mario Odyssey, that came out just a couple years ago.
Yep.
I like that game a lot. The reason why it doesn't really make the main list is because I thought it was a little too short. Like, I liked it, but it was just kind of like over before it began. Super Mario Kart, we already talked about. I mean, it's kind of like started it all, kind of like the original Mario game. Mm-hmm. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I would say that's probably overall, like, in terms of like actual Mario Karts, it's probably like the best one that's out there. It's just didn't make the list because by the time it came out, it's like not that many other people I know are still playing Mario games in Mario Kart, Super Smash Brothers franchise, like just in general, and then like the new Super Mario Brothers game that came out in 2006 because it kind of, for the longest time, they were doing 3D games only, and people
for the longest time.
we would start wearing like those corn hats, and we're like, oh. Whatever. Sorry, shit. So yeah, new Super Mario Brothers. Because it was like they hadn't made a 2D one in forever, and I think when that came out, people were like, "Holy shit!" Like forgot how fun it was. So, do you have an idea of what my number one's gonna be?
Yes. It's probably the same as mine.
Yes. Number one.
Aldo's Adventures.
What? Oh, okay. When you said all those adventures, I was thinking of Aldi, like the shop. So I was like, what?
That knockoff Mario game. I played the heck out of that back then.
I'd never heard of this, but Matt sent me this clip the other day and was like, check out this, all those adventures. And I was like waiting for something to happen like it was a joke, but like I watched it for like a good 20 minutes and was like...
20 minutes?
What the fuck's going on here? Because it was like a long play of the game. And then I was like, okay, I think this is just like the game.
It is.
And then I fast forwarded and I was like, what the fuck is this? And then you were like, yeah, this is like an actual game. And it was like, it's like a rip-off of Mario, but it's...
Aldo. And he looks exactly like Mario.
But it's like...
He has a longer mustache.
What was it? It's like, it didn't look like a Mario game. It was like it was like Donkey Kong or something. Yeah. But, yeah, it's like there's a ton of Mario rip-offs out there, which makes sense. I mean, it was huge.
But your real number one is...
Superboy.
Duke Nukem.
Yeah. That time I made that Duke Nukem Mario crossover fanfic. Did I ever tell you about that?
I remember that.
Jesus, that was so bad. But that leads into why I wrote that, is because around the same time that Duke Nukem 3D came out, Super Mario 64 came out in 1996. Dude, this
my
was
number one as well.
This was a year because there was Mario Kart 64 later in the year, Super Mario 64, and then I actually had a tie for first, Super Mario RPG.
Oh, I knew.
That also released in 1996.
I thought that was going to be your number one, actually.
96 was probably like the best year that I can think of for games and stuff, because it was like Super Mario 64, Super Mario RPG, and then we had like 3 Mario games that were completely different. Mm-hmm. And they were, I mean, one was on the old console, but it was like the last time Square teamed up with Nintendo.
Mario RPG probably would have been on my list, but I knew you were going to talk about
it.
So.
Yeah, Mario RPG, they've still never done one, in my opinion, like a role-playing game for Mario that's just as good as that one. But they've had other ones that are okay. They're more like, I don't know, they're not as good, in my opinion. Like, they're okay, but they always come out with these, like, they have, like, gimmicks and stuff in them, which is fine. But, like, the original one also had that, like, I don't know, it's like a 2.5D thing, or maybe it's 3D isometrical thing. But they had all these like original characters in it and stuff like that. But they also had like the old characters and Mario and Bowser like team up in it, and I was like, dude, this is freaking awesome. But
Gino,
Gino,
out for justice. He's like, where's Richie?
You think Gino's gonna let you go?
You're not gonna let Gino take you?
Gino's like shooting him. Mallow's like, he took my fucking leg! Oh, my fucking leg off! It's like, why? But yeah, the other one, Super Mario 64, this one was the game that like blew my fucking mind.
Yeah.
Like when this game came out and I had people over and we played it, I was like, holy shit. Like people were like, holy fuck, dude. Like this game issued in like, so I wrote like a little thing here. Mario 64 was a groundbreaking 3D game that successfully issued in the 3D revolution in the brand new Nintendo 64. And Mario RPG, the series, first foray into the turn-based role-playing genre, released on the Super Nintendo that same year. And it was like, they were both like, holy shit. But Mario 64 specifically was like, before that, I think there had been other games that had kind of tried to do it, but it was like so shitty and janky. But this came out and it was like, okay, this can be done.
Because of Mario 64, I was on the news. Because we went to like this...
You were like, stab somebody, you're like, I want a copy!
We went to this electronics store and like they were debuting the N64,
right? And
then Newz was there because this like it was a big electronics store that just opened.
Yeah,
and I played the game and like they came and interviewed me.
They were like future Buddy Shots co-host Matt Sollenberger,
future
here,
nerd, aka,
and you were like
current nerd.
Hey guys, this is Matt from the Buddy Shots podcast in the future or in the past. I'm like the living, I mean the dead. Yeah, like dude, that's awesome.
That was pretty funny.
I remember. I had this stupid fucking thing where I was like, man, because we were going to like Canada around that time. I was like, dude, what if they have like an N64 set up and I fucking get on it and I like kick ass in the game and like all these chicks will be all over me.
Well, that's the way it works.
Yep. Such a fucking
so
nerd.
Sad.
Yeah. So funny, dude. So what's like your relationship with Mario? How did like you guys first get into Mario? I'm like, what's your relationship with
Mario? From the beginning, like I told you, I
yeah.
saw my neighbors. I went over to their house and they were playing Mario 1.
So it was like your neighbors had it.
Yeah.
And you were like, holy shit.
And I was like, whoa, this is awesome. And then, eventually we got a Nintendo and
nice.
We were off to the races. But I think you're a bigger fan overall than I am.
Yeah, I shaved my fucking beard like a damn loser and I got this hat on. No, I'm not a loser. So why don't you kill me?
I'm not a coward. I've just never been tested.
It's like, what?
I'd like to think that if I was, I would pass.
It's like, okay. But our dad actually was the one that got into Mario because he really wanted a Nintendo. And like, my mom's mom bought him one. That was like their Christmas gift that year. Mm-hmm. And like, he was like, Nintendo! So he was all about like Mario and stuff.
I didn't know that.
Because before that, like, he had been like obsessed with like arcades and like Galaga and stuff like that. And like, but like then I guess, yeah, like he saw Nintendo. I was like, dude, we gotta have this shit. So we got it. And that's how I kind of got into it because I was like super young and couldn't even really play it. And when it came out, I was like, I didn't have like an older brother to kind of like be like Nate or whatever, like with Ryan. But like, yeah, I guess my dad was kind of like that thing.
Introduced you to all the cool stuff.
Yeah, but he was like, check this shit out. You can't play it. I'm like, I know, I suck.
That reminds me of similar, like when we were real little kids.
Yeah.
My dad, we would always go to this arcade because they had the Super Star Wars game.
Oh, dude, nice.
Remember the really old one?
Yeah.
And like, he would always play, but he never let us play. Like, just watch me play. Like, you're too little for this.
That's hilarious.
It's like, just hold my beer. I'm gonna play.
Your dad was like a fucking video game hog. He was like, hell yeah. So who's your favorite Mario character? Or like, yeah, I guess it could be Nintendo character.
I honestly think Mario's due for like a reboot.
You're like Birdo number 5.
I might have said Birdo.
Birdo.
But like they've had the same aesthetic for like 25 years.
Yeah,
now.
it kind of just slowly gets updated, so it's kind of like
maybe this new movie will like reboot the franchise. But That didn't answer your question at all.
That's okay.
I don't know. Probably Luigi.
Luigi.
He's the cool brother.
He's the workhorse.
Yeah.
He's the workhorse.
What about you?
I've always been so like I think when I was younger, it's kind of like with Dragon Ball. I was always like, Goku's the greatest. Superman's awesome. But as I got older, I was like, I actually like Bowser more than Mario. I love Mario. Like, I don't like hate him. He's not like as bad as like certain characters where I'm like he's trying to get all the glory. It's kind of like Mickey Mouse. He's there to like, welcome everybody to the franchise.
Yeah.
But like
the Koopa kids are cool.
Yeah, Bowser's
Ludwig
always
von
been
Koopa.
like, Morton von Koopa.
Yeah, Morton Koopa Jr.
Yeah, he's my son. Got his name from his Uncle Mike. But I've always been a fan of Bowser for the most part. So yeah,
cool.
That's it. And that's all we've got to say, guys. So let's move on to Weird Watches.
Weird Watches.
That was a great segment. So we've got the Super Mario Brothers Super Show here. I just have a little thing about this before we talk any more about it. But like as a kid, I liked the animated stuff. But like as an adult, I like the live action stuff way more.
Yeah, me too.
The animated stuff, I was like, dude, this
was a chore to get
through. The animated stuff, I was like, especially because it's not in any order. It's like not in any kind of story arc. It's like it's like the Karate Kid thing. It's like these are interchangeable. This is kind of shit. But I understand why they did it, so they could just play it out of order and just get a ton of views. But for people that don't know, the Super Mario Bros. Super Show was an American live-action animated television series airing from September 4th to November 30th, 1989 on syndication. The series is based on the video game Super Mario Bros. And 2.
So it only made it one season?
It did, but they did like Super Mario 3, a version of that, and then they did the Super Mario World show. You remember that where it was like Super Mario World? Because I used to play that stupid fucking song all the time.
Super Mario World, it's a blast from the past. That all came back to me like I totally forgot about it.
Super Mario World, you got to move fast. What? That's actually the opposite of what you usually do in the games. But like it's the first of 3 television series to be based on the Mario video game series. Each episode consists of live-action segments starring WWF Hall of Famer Captain Lou Albano as Mario and Danny Wells as Luigi, alongside special guests, which, good lord, dude, they had like a ton of awesome guests on this show.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, like let me actually, I'll go down to where the guests. It's not all the guests because there was a ton of them, but like there was. Here's just a couple. So Elvira was on the show.
Nice.
This first episode we watched had Nicole Eggert, which I was like, I wasn't really sure who this was. I think she was from 90210.
Okay. I wasn't familiar with her.
David Horowitz, Ernie Hudson, Cyndi Lauper.
I didn't think about this location for when it's raining.
Sergeant Slaughter.
What?
Wood. Rowdy Piper and Moon Zappa.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's just a couple. How does this sound?
Probably.
Yeah. So that's just a couple. How does this sound?
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it's fun. I think it sounds worse to us because we're.
Nothing can go wrong now.
Yeah, true. So let's see here. But they had the Mario cartoons Monday through Thursday, and then on Friday it was like the Zelda cartoons, which I remember I watched this whole episode, and at the end they were like, check out, this is going to be from the next episode of Zelda.
Yep.
And it was like Ganon fell on some skeletons or something. And I was like, what the fuck is going on?
So when we watched this, I realized that I'd seen at least this episode before.
Yeah,
I think you had it on DVD, maybe.
Yeah,
we probably watched it together back in the day.
They used to piece it out on DVD, on VHSs, and then DVDs, and then they finally did the complete series recently. Well, not recently. It was
So what'd you think?
The animated stuff sucks.
Yeah, it was pretty weak.
But the live action stuff is like awesome. Like, I thought it was pretty funny. Like, it was so cheesy, but it was like, it's essentially if, like, you like the corny kind of, like, Pee-wee's Playhouse stuff,
Yep.
It was like that. It was like Pee-wee's Playhouse with, like, Italian and, like, well, not Italian, I guess, like, fucking spaghetti and, like, plumbing jokes. So,
Yeah.
should we talk about the plumber rap at the beginning?
Yeah.
So, we're the Mario Brothers and plumbins are game. We're not like the others who get all the fame. Which I was like, what plumbers get fucking fame? If your sink is in trouble, you can call us on the double. We're faster than the others. You'll be hooked on the brothers. Hooked on the brothers.
I'm hooked on the brothers.
Gimme. You're in for a treat, so hang on to your seat. Get ready for adventure and remarkable feats. You'll meet Koopa, the Troopas, the princess, and the others, which it's just Toads, the others. So, hanging with the plumber, she'll be hooked on the brothers. To the bridge. I said, hooked on the brothers. So that's the live action one. And then they do another one for when they go into the cartoon, where it's like, it's the Mario Brothers and plumbers that found the secret warp zone while working on the drain. Lend the princess a hand in the mushroom land. Join the action with the plumbers. You'll be hooked on the brothers.
Back then, it was all about the rapping.
Yeah.
And whoever wrote that definitely didn't do it in 5 seconds. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's pretty. I remember I was like, dude, this is great, like, back in the day, but, like, listening to it again, I was like, what the fuck? They didn't spend any time on this. It's like the song for the Three Musketeers. Love is really great. It's like, okay? Like, this song sucks. And you had, like, Sting and all these other great artists, but they just, like, put it together in 3 seconds.
Demolition Man.
Dude, that song rocks. Yeah, so pretty much, this rap was...
It's like, my name's Mario, and I'm here to say I love doing plumbing in a major way. I was like,
that actually is pretty good.
it's just as good as that.
Yeah. So,
can we talk about the... my favorite part of this episode is the Mario dance. Do the Mario. Do you have any thoughts on that?
At the end where it's like, let me see here. Let's do the Mario all together now. You got it. It's the Mario. Do the Mario. Swing your arms from side to side. Come on, it's time to go. Do the Mario. Take one step and then again. Let's do the Mario all together now. Come on now. Just like that. It's Captain Lou essentially telling you to fucking walk.
Exactly. So it's not a dance. That's called walking.
Yeah.
You take a step and then the next and you swing your arms.
Yeah. It's like, do the Bigfoot. It's like, huh?
Laziest dance ever.
Yeah, it was like the rap. It was like, what the fuck is this? I thought it was funny that it was like best plumbers in Brooklyn and possibly the world. And I was like it was on the newspaper or something. And I was like, what? They had this whole thing was about them being like neat and clean or something. Like it was like tidiness counts or neatness counts. And Nicole Eggert shows up. She's like in their cabinet or something.
I didn't quite get that.
Then they went to like commercial, and Luigi or Mario says, "If you could stick around, that would sure be neat." And then Luigi says, "Like our motto says, the customer is always wet." I'm like, it's kind of a weird thing to say when you have a female guest on the show.
Luigi's like, "You're welcome."
Mario's like, exactly. He's a ravenous Koopa splitter. Yeah, this like, I have like a bunch of stuff about the cartoon, but it's like I don't even know if I want to talk about it. It's so
it's pretty
boring.
Although it did remind me of remember those books? They were like Choose Your Own Adventure, and they had puzzles in them too.
Yeah.
I love those things, man.
I think the big thing to take away from the cartoon is like essentially Mario and Luigi, it's like their big thing is pasta. So they're always talking about, oh, pasta, I'm hungry, I'm pasta. Or I'm pasta. I'm hungry, I want pasta. I'm not pasta. There's a weird part where King Koopa says, if I want my feet licked, I'll ask for it. And then he says, lick my feet. And they lick his feet for like a long time. And I'm like, huh? This is so weird. Like a young Quentin Tarantino.
You beat me to it. I was just going to say.
He was like, I just put, this is boring. Just want to watch the live action part with Lil Albano and Danny Wells. I guess.
Yeah, this was what, like 20 minutes long, but it felt like an hour.
I will give them a little bit of props because they kind of like this felt like a first episode because they like just arrived and like they didn't know Fireflower what they did and shit. So I guess if you want to say this was kind of the beginning, but it's like that's like the nicest thing you can say about it. Mario says, I'd pay $200 for a nice pepperoni cheesecake right now. I thought that was fucked up. I don't know why the fuck you'd want to eat that, but
I'd try it.
Yeah, a little cheapy. There's like worms and shit in this.
Yeah, and then they diluted their own brand by having a Zelda cartoon in the middle of the Mario show. It's like, nice.
A lot of people, I think, from what I've heard, say that, I used to really look forward to the Zelda cartoons, but I think if they watched them today, they'd probably be like, this is just as bad as the Mario shit. But I guess it really depends on if you're more of a Mario fan or a Zelda fan. Mm-hmm. I like them both, so it's like Star Wars versus Star Trek. I don't really choose one or the other.
I have room in my heart for both.
Your heart piece.
Unlike back in the day when you were like, Mario's great, down with Sonic, boo! Like you could only choose one for the console wars of 1996.
It's funny because back then it was funny. It was funny because back then it was funny. Sonic. It's funny because Sonic back then was actually great, and so was Mario, and Mario's continued to be great, and Sonic fucking sucks now. So it's like people didn't know how good they had it. I guess it's the same way with Star Wars and Star Trek. Yeah. This is fuck. I mean, I guess if you're able to choose between one or the other and be like, this one's great, this one sucks, but now it's like I can't choose either.
Yeah.
Mario says, how about showing her some scenes from the next Legend of Zelda cartoon? So this part is weird. The Triforce of Wisdom, the evil Ganon has the Triforce of Power. Whoever gets both Triforces. What does the word tri mean, Matt?
It usually means three of something. Prefix.
And in the games, there's three. So I was like, what the is
I thought there was just one.
Well, I think when it's together, it's one. But yeah, it's like the Triforce of Wisdom, Courage, and Power, I think. And like Link always has the Triforce of Courage. But I don't... Whatever. This one... I remember this Zelda cartoon also being a thing where like... Link was like down to like get with Zelda every 5 seconds. Like he's like, I'll only do it. It's like Scooby. He'll only do something if he gets a Scooby snack. But like Link would only do something if he got like a kiss or something. It's like, what?
There you go.
And then he had his excuse me, princess line, which I was like, fucking Full House over here. Yeah.
Squeeze me.
Dude, this was pure like kids shit at the end because it was like, well, I guess it's all kids shit, but when she was like, she got all like destroyed by the Mario Brothers with like all kinds of nasty shit, like, you know, like food and all this other crap, and she's like, I'm going to a sloppy party. The person who dresses the sloppiest wins, and I was like, huh? I've never heard of that before. And then, like they say, stay tuned, the sloppy Mario Brothers will return. And I was like, okay. I used to like this show a lot back in the day. Like I said, I liked the cartoon, but like now I was like, I just wish it was, like if they were going to do a half hour, it would have been all just the live action, like Pee-wee's Playhouse kind of thing, because...
And got some better writing.
That was the best part of it for me, was watching... I think like if this episode was like one where like Sergeant Slaughter or Elvira, or like I remember they had like an episode where the guy that originally voiced Inspector Gadget, like the guy that played Maxwell Smart and Get Smart, showed up as Inspector Gadget in live action.
Really?
And it was fucking awesome, and I remember
cool.
that stuff being really
Don
cool.
Adams?
Yeah. But like this was like, who the fuck is this? I think that's the problem for me, but yeah, as a kid, I thought this was way cooler. I guess like they made him shave off his fucking goatee that he had and grow a mustache.
Oh, really?
That was something that they were like, we can't have you like being like the dude from like Batman where you just paint your mustache like Joker.
Yeah.
Like you have to grow like a real, or not grow a mustache, but get rid of your goatee because Mario doesn't have a goatee. Apparently, Lil Bono was talking about how like they improvised their dialogue a lot, which kind of shows. Because it's
like
kind
that
of
time he said "F you, Luigi." That wasn't written.
He's like, "Oh, fuck you, Luigi," and you got a piece of spaghetti on your overall. I'm like, what? So the behind the scenes stuff was literally this like Captain Lou talking for like literally like six minutes, but like the first like 4 minutes were him just doing his wrestling shtick. So he's like, "I'm Captain Lou and I'm coming to you," blah blah blah, and I'm like, okay, dude, get to the part where you talk about you being in the show. And he said he looked like he's like, yeah, when I was like out Captain Lou Albano as a wrestler with the Hawaiian shirt and all this stuff, I looked like a moron in Heat. He said people were gonna kill him as a heel, so he like went face, and like he goes on about like Cyndi Lauper, Deke approached him to be like Mario. His wife convinced him to do it. Regis Philbin actually convinced him to play Mario as well because he's like a big wrestling fan. Danny Wells came along. They had to find guest stars. They had no trouble. It was essentially like this documentary was just like weird, but he said something weird. He said 3 to 4 years. We did 65 years, but I think he meant episodes. Yeah.
One too many heads to the turnbuckle for Captain Lou.
Yeah. Yeah. The extras on this DVD were pretty lame, honestly, but yeah, I don't know. What did you think overall about this? I remember we've seen a couple back in the day, so this wasn't like a new thing to us, but
I like the actors, and that's about the best I can say for it.
Right.
Other than that, it's like, ooh,
yeah. This was definitely one of those things where like
it was a weird watch.
If you cut off the cartoons, that would have been like the best part of the live action. And like the 15 minutes was cutting it kind of for me. Like once we, like you said, once I got into the cartoon, I was like, shit. So, do you have anything else to say before we move on to the main event?
Nope.
Dude, are you ready for this? For the Super Mario Brothers movie?
Turn into Butthead.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
So, Super Mario Brothers came out in 93. And it's based obviously on the Super Mario Brothers video game series. It's the first full-length live-action film based on a video game, which is one of the reasons why they kind of didn't do one for a while. It was directed by the husband and wife team of Rocky Morton and Annabel Jankel, written by a bunch of people that fucked up.
That's how you know.
Yeah. It's like 3 people. Yeah, that's one of the things that kind of came across to me. It was like they kept bringing on a bunch of different writers and a bunch of shit was getting fucked up. But it follows Mario, Bob Hoskins, and Luigi, John Leguizamo, in their quest to save Princess Daisy, Samantha Mathis, from a dystopian parallel universe ruled by the ruthless King Koopa, Dennis Hopper. The ruthless Dennis Hopper. So when we talked about like the best like composers, we forgot to talk about Alan Silvestri, because he did like, maybe we did talk about him on another episode, but he did like this, he did Back to the Future and Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah. Well, if nothing else, this movie has a great score.
Oh yeah. Do you want to talk about the soundtrack here?
Yeah, it was awesome.
You kept sending me like clips of the soundtrack.
I couldn't believe how good each song was, because I hadn't seen this since it came out in theaters.
Holy shit, dude.
It was like watching it for the first
time. It's like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. You hadn't seen it in so long. I have definitely a different relationship with this movie. I got it on VHS when I was a kid and kind of like watched it.
Wore it out.
Yeah. But, we've got Almost Unreal by Roxette. Love is the Drug by Divinals. Where Are You Going by Extreme. Breakpoint by Megadeth. And for me, I think it's like the most popular thing in this was Walk the Dinosaur, obviously. But this is like a special version of the song where they include like Goombas and stuff and other stuff. I Would Stop the World by Charles and Eddie, and Speed of Light by Joe Centrini, Tie Your Mother Down by Queen, I Want You by Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, Somewhere by Love by Maurice Jarre, Cantaloupe by US3. So,
good stuff.
Yeah, there's some pretty great songs on here.
Yeah, I agree. I was blown away.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked because I kind of forgot a bunch of these, and then when I started watching it, I was like, wait a minute.
Did you have the soundtrack?
No, I didn't actually. Because by the time this came out, like, I didn't see it in theaters. Like, I remember, like, because we saw certain movies, but, like, I think this is one of the ones that came out, and I didn't even know that they were making a Mario movie at one point. And then, like I said, I heard about it at one point, but by that point, like, I didn't have, you know, it was out of theaters, and there was really no way to get a hold of it. And then my aunt, like, bought it and got it for me for Christmas, and I think it was kind of hard to get at that point. So I was like, holy shit, you know, and I watched it, and I was like, I didn't really know what to think of it.
That was, yeah, so I saw it in theaters, like, super pumped.
Yeah.
And I just remember being confused.
Right.
Like, some, like, aspects of this are cool, but I could tell even then, like, something had gone wrong. Like, it was a mess.
It's kind of funny because in the extras, like the documentary that I watched, the guy, like, the people talk about, like, oh, we don't want this to just be like a super easy thing for kids. We want, like, when they leave the theater, their parents to have to explain it to them. And I was like, that is definitely not the right way to go about it, but you accomplished that goal.
I would doubt even parents wouldn't know how to explain that to their kids.
Right?
Like, they're probably more confused than the kids are. It was just so different from the games. Like, all I had going into it were the Mario games, and, like, this movie
didn't help you at all.
Mario and Luigi, and then everything around them was, like,
it was essentially totally like in name only.
Yeah.
Kind of like the whole thing we talked about with, like, certain characters where it's like, I don't know.
But this movie shouldn't be dismissed. Like, I really love movies like this that are, like, so crazy. Like, it's not boring at all.
Yeah, it's got a very Who Framed Roger Rabbit feel to it, where it's like, maybe because it's got Bob Hoskins in it, but it's got that, like, you can feel at least what they did. It was different, and they kind of wanted their own vision for it. Even though in the in the documentary they talk about how a lot of stuff had to be compromised due to, like, the studio getting involved and being like, we need to cut a bunch of shit out, and it was, like, kind of a shit show.
Yeah.
I forgot that there really wasn't, like, a big thing here with, like, a studio. It's like Leitmotiv Allied Filmmakers logo, and I'm like, who the fuck are these people? Like, I don't know. Super Mario Brothers theme, and then you've got, like, this big intro, like, that apparently was filmed, like, weeks to a month later, because I guess they tested it and people were, like, confused.
A big surprise.
So they did, like, this intro about how, like, the Earth was ruled by dinosaurs, then, like, a comet hit and they died, and then they said, like, what if the impact of the meteor, like, didn't kill the dinosaurs but created a parallel dimension where the dinosaurs continued to thrive and evolve? And it's like, okay, like, that's how you get set up in this film before anything else happens.
Yeah.
And then you see Brooklyn 20 years ago. They, like, a kid gets dropped off.
An egg baby.
And a baby hatches from an egg. But it's
that's when I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah. But Dennis Hopper as Koopa, but he's, like, I guess before he's the leader, he's, like, dressed as, like, a general because he's got all these, like, ribbons and shit. But yeah, and then we, like, fast forward to present day, and we've got John Leguizamo as Luigi, sitting here watching, like, an unsolved mystery show, like Miraculous World. Like,
I think I know the answer, but what do you think of Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo as Mario and Luigi?
Love it.
Yeah, they're really good.
I used to kind of not know what to think about John Leguizamo as Luigi when I first saw it. Like, I was always a huge fan of Bob Hoskins as Mario. But at first, I didn't really know what to think because it's so weird, because usually when like, everything they've ever done with, like, Mario and Luigi, Luigi is the one that's like always kind of like, he's not really scared, but he's not like, I mean, he is kind of. He's kind of like the character that's like, that's his personality trait, is to be kind of scared and to be like trepidatious and not exactly like, you know, like Mario's like no fear and stuff, whereas in this one it's kind of, they flip the roles. And Mario is, he's brave, but he's like afraid of heights. He's like, he doesn't believe shit sometimes. And it's like Luigi's more of a main character kind of, which is, I thought it kind of worked in this a little bit.
Totally. I think they're great, and I think their chemistry is awesome. Like, I totally buy them as brothers, and like they're fun to watch. Like, I was thinking in the first 15 minutes of this movie are pretty much just normal, like them living life in Brooklyn. And I was like, if that would have been the whole movie, it would have been a great movie.
Apparently, in the documentary, there was like one of the first drafts had really nothing. I mean, I was gonna say it had nothing to do with Mario, but the whole thing's kind of like that to a degree. But like, it was essentially like a ripoff of Rain Man, where they just go across country as Mario and Luigi. And like, so much where it was a ripoff, they called it, instead of Rain Man, Drain Man. And
that's pushing it.
I thought that was kind of weird. Yeah, that like you would vie for Mario Brothers and go this route right off the bat. Not that that's a bad idea for a movie, because Rain Man's super popular, but like, why even use the Mario?
Right. Exactly.
So yeah, but that's kind of like where we're going with this. It's a very interesting movie of like, I don't think they ever truly understood what Mario Brothers were about.
Clearly.
I think at one point there was actually like some dudes that got in with the writing were like, we should put in more stuff like with like the Mario, like the enemies and the characters and stuff from the game, because people that are going to see this are going to want to see stuff about the games, and then they kept cutting it out because of the money and stuff. So I want to talk about one of the things we've talked about probably for as long as we've known each other, or as long as we've at least both talked about this movie. So in this movie, the Mario Brothers are plumbers, which is like something that doesn't really happen all that often these days in the games. It's kind of become like, you know, they live in the Mushroom Kingdom now. But like, the Mario Brothers are plumbers, and they've been doing this for a long time. And they get a call to like go to this place, and they get there, and like another company beats them there first, like the Scapelli brothers. And I think we've always talked about this, like how this makes no fucking sense, because like, unless they called like every plumber and the first one to get there gets the job, how the fuck would they beat them there? Like, it's not like plumbers are like, oh, I fucking see like
the plumber signal.
Right.
Were they plumbers? I couldn't tell.
So I thought you were going to ask this question, because I kind of had the same thing, because on the side of the van, I'd never really looked at this till now, but this is the most confusing shit I've ever seen for like a company like that's supposed to be. So it says Scapelli Construction, Plumbing, Commercial, Industrial, Residential, London, Paris, Palmero, Beverly Hills, Brooklyn. So
specific.
Yeah. And on the side of the truck or van, there's like 3 telephone numbers, 3 fax numbers, and a toll-free number. And I'm like, for your fucking brand, for advertising, why would you put anything other than one number? There's 3 telephone numbers, all starting with 555.
Dude, back in the day, like there wasn't such a thing as like, you know, multiple lines and call waiting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's very old-fashioned.
3 numbers, then fax 3 numbers, then a toll-free line. It's like, dude, just have the fucking toll-free line, because the toll-free line is 1-800-FIX-LEAK. And I'm like, how confusing is that? How the fuck do they ever get any work? Like, they're driving around and someone's like, got to write all these fucking numbers down.
That's how it was back in the day, man.
Mario Brothers had theirs just one number.
That's why they're the worst.
That's why they're the best.
That's one thing that this movie gets right. It like utilizes their awesome plumbing skills.
Yeah,
I really like that. Like it's set up that they're awesome plumbers, and then like that helped them out down the line.
So they're digging up bones in New York. And I was actually wondering, I was like, is this an actual thing? But I looked it up, and I guess like the first dinosaur fossils found in New York State were discovered in 1972. So it is a thing. It's just
yeah. Speaking of fossils, have you ever gone out looking for one?
Yeah, we went on this trip and like they were like, oh, we're gonna go like look at fossils here, and this was like for school, and they were like, whatever you do, don't go up on like the, go up the hill and like go up on this like rock thing. And what do you think the first thing that happened that I did was I like went straight out of the fucking bus and went straight to the fucking wall, and they were like, get in the bus, and I was like, and I still to this day don't know what I was thinking, like why I did that. It's like random as hell.
Like a moth to the flame.
Yeah. I was like a Pied Piper. Yeah, it is so weird.
I have another question.
Mm-hmm.
What's a better movie about Brooklyn, this or Out for Justice? You don't have to answer. We'll never get away from Out for Justice. Nicole, you seen Koopa around here? Where's Koopa?
I think this movie, I don't know. I mean, like, that movie has more of Brooklyn in it. This movie only has a couple scenes where it's in Brooklyn. Yeah. I guess we're being technical. That movie has more scenes, but this movie doesn't have Steven Seagal in it. It has Bob Hoskins, so. So we got this dude over here sniffing a wiener. Or no, he's sniffing a hot dog. Or like he's sniffing it up and eating like a hot dog, which he calls a wiener, I think.
Good old New York street meat. What? It's delicious.
2 arms, 1 head, 2 legs. I'm like, that describes every upright walking humanoid in existence. I was like, was this just like...
Humanoid?
Yeah. What? Wait, what's wrong?
Are there humanoids on Earth that aren't humans? I guess apes. Are they humanoids? Sorry.
Now I'm like...
You use the term humanoid instead of human.
I'm like an alien. Humanoid. Intergalactic.
Look at that guy. He's a humanoid.
He's like...
Bigfoot's a humanoid.
That's true. Maybe that's what I meant.
Is the Noid a humanoid?
I don't know, man. He got that one dude.
Knows you got to avoid him.
Yeah, that one guy like killed himself due to the Noid.
Like Mr. Noid.
No, not the.
That was his name, wasn't it?
No, yes.
It was like John.
No, you meant the
Noid.
mascot. I was like, what? Yeah, he thought that like Domino's was gonna kill him or some shit, so he killed himself.
Sorry, I totally derailed us.
No, that's all good. I saw that there's 2 Mr. Video 3s on the same street, so I don't know if this was like one of those like video games where you're like shooting people and like you're driving along the thing and it's like there's 50 like of the same thing. Because one of the other place was like just a generic place that just said pizza. I was like, okay. Mario Brothers Plumbing Service, KL53089. So, I love Mario and Luigi's interaction in this movie.
Yeah.
Luigi's on the phone checking to see if they have any messages, and I had to rewind a couple of times to finally get this down because I wanted to do a thorough job here. This is Alphonse from Alphonse's department store. I have a big flood over here, so get all your plumbers, get extra plumbers, bring every plumber you have. I'm like, what? Like, okay.
It was an emergency.
Yeah, every plumber and extra plumbers, but every plumber you have. Mario is watching Luigi trying to hit on Daisy, and it's like a shit show. He's over there like...
Yeah, this is probably like my favorite scenes in the movie, honestly.
Anything to do with like Mario treating Luigi like his son, essentially. Because he's his brother, but he's like a lot older than him, and he's like... hungry?
Why wait?
What'd you say?
Why wait?
Wow. Awesome soundtrack again. Mario dressed in his best Leisure Suit Larry or like Yakuza stuff here. He had like the red like thing and like the gray suit. There used to be Dodgers in Brooklyn. Or I fucked that up. There used to be dinosaurs in Brooklyn. Relax, Luigi. There used to be Dodgers here too. Instantly, there used to be Dodgers in Brooklyn. You're like, yeah.
There you go.
Mario just seems like generally happy that Luigi has a girlfriend or like someone he's interested in.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. It's just like, no matter what you say about this movie, like the interaction between like Mario and Luigi it's like, I don't know. They had like actual chemistry. It seems.
Yeah, that's what made me just want a movie about the two of them. Like,
yeah.
Where it's not Mario related.
Yeah.
Just
just like this movie.
kind of.
Where it wasn't really Mario. The way they worded this, if you want to end this right now, I understand. That's what I was going to say. If you want to just end it right now, I'm like, Jesus! Like, who's talking about that shit? She was talking about how, like, the university won't give her any more money for security because they keep having all, I guess, these people coming by and, like, trying to fuck with them. And I'm like, I could understand if you're, like, it's like a grant and you're, like, looking for shit or you're researching stuff, but you've essentially unearthed the fucking bones and they're halfway sticking out and they can come and see them. So what's the deal with not giving them money? You know what I mean? I thought that was kind of fucking weird. I could understand if it's like a scientist and he's like, hey, I'm
You found the biggest plot hole in this movie.
Scapelli. They're running from the shit they did. That's a weird note. It's good you're here. Why? Because you're a plumber. Oh, yeah. I was like, Luigi's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, this triggered in my mind like Bob Hoskins played a plumber in Brazil.
Oh, nice, yeah.
I totally forgot about it until watching this movie. I was like, wait a minute.
Oh. He also played like Eddie Valiant in 50 movies because it's like his same thing. What the fuck is going on with the...
We turned into humanoids.
What the fuck is this? Hopefully the stream isn't fucked up.
Oh, I turned into a human glitch.
Turned into a human shithead.
A human witch.
What is going on? Is this fucking fucked now?
Uh-oh. Start over. Tech diffs.
Oh, no, it looks fine. Okay. I think it's fucked up on the app. I was worried because this is how I edit this later. I'm like, we'll edit this part out later. Mario gets like super pissed when he finds out Scapelli's involved and he like sees red. It's like, Jesus. He's like, strap your belt on, kid. I'm like, why? They get hit in the head with like fucking hammers, but then they like instantly recover and don't drown.
Hammer Brothers.
Yeah. I wonder if that's what they... Nah.
The answer is no.
Yeah. So Mario says, like, they're chasing him down, or chasing Daisy down. And Mario says, no, this way, I'm positive that, that's the Echo. I've been around pipes my whole life. Cut to the next scene when they're going the way that he said to go. And he says, Luigi, let's turn around. This might be a dead end. And I'm like,
I didn't know.
What? You just told him to go this way. Bob Hoskins was doing his best, like, Three Stooges act, trying to avoid getting into, like, the warp on the wall. He's like...
Yeah, that was some good physical comedy, Roger Rabbit style.
Yeah.
He's really good at that kind of stuff.
And then, like, when he goes in, which I've always thought this was weird and funny, he does, like, a complete flip where his feet, like, are somehow, like, in the air. So he enters, like... He's like this, and here's the wall, and he's like... And I always thought that was funny. It's like, Jesus...
It's like in Diamonds Are Forever where he flips the car up on two wheels and then when they come out it's on the other two wheels and they had to like flip put that shot in there
the car would have
flipping.
So they finally get to like the post-apocalyptic New York here. Well, I guess it's not that. It's called, what's it called? It's called like Dino Hatton.
Yeah, Dino Hatton. Real clever.
Yeah. My thing is
I love this set though. Like when I first saw this, it's like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what adventures are going to happen in this location.
They've got signs for all kinds of different places, like Fire Snake, Thwomp, Bullet Bills,
There's a Hammer Brothers something too.
Yeah, like the taxi is called Wiggler. So like, I think
at least they did that.
I think like a lot of this comes from like there's this one guy on the documentary that was the guy I was talking about that was like we need to add more stuff in. I think any time that they could, he would try to just be like, let's just name it this or have it look like this so it's more, you know, that kind of thing. But Mario says, this can't be Manhattan. Luigi says, I don't know. I haven't been to Manhattan in a couple weeks. Mario says, must have been a bad couple of weeks. I'm like, okay. Mario was simply disgusted at the sight of tiny dinosaurs. He's like, oh, God! So now it's time for you to explain to the viewers the man on the bicycle.
Yeah, it was just like a...
They're
exploring the crazy world, and then it's like you just see a clip of a dude riding a bicycle, and he smashes over a rail and falls to his death.
It's like...
for no reason.
Some random clown
so
pratfall. It's like...
And it had nothing... It's like what's that movie where the dude's throwing a dog into the...
with
river
Hogan? It's like, I just want to go swimming.
Like,
you know, or whatever. And like, he's
so
driving his motorcycle, and the dog's like... It's like, why?
That cracked me up.
So there was a movie being played on a sign that says, I was a teenage mammal, XXX. And I was like, what? Okay. They're like, mammals are sensual. So that's something that I thought was kind of weird. Like, obviously, you know, when I've watched, like, this movie before, I never really thought about it till now. But, like, they talk about, oh, what if, like, dinosaurs and humans, like, evolved differently? Mm-hmm. Dinosaurs wouldn't evolve to fucking have, like, hair and, like, mammalian fucking flesh. So, like, they look exactly like us.
They did in this dimension.
So, like, that's impossible. So that's why I was kind of like, wait a minute.
That was my biggest disappointment at the time. Like, first seeing this was, like, when they introduced Bowser, and he's just Dennis Hopper. It's like, oh, seriously?
Yeah. I read somewhere, too, that originally they were thinking of, like, they were going to do a thing where, like, for the first little bit, he was going to be actually disguising himself with, like, magic or something.
That'd at least be something.
Look like Dennis Hopper, like a human. And then, like... unveil, like, actually, this is what I look like. Because you really only get to kind of see Bowser at the very end, but even then it's, like, a vague representation.
It looks pretty crappy, too. That almost seems like a reshoot or, like, a last-minute thing.
Yeah.
It looked pretty cheap.
But, yeah, like, it's one of those things where, especially if you ever watch, like, Star Wars or Star Trek, you're like... you know, think, like, the whole thing of, like, oh, man, like, what if dinosaurs, like, because way before this movie came out, there was, like, the whole, like, alternate history kind of thinking of, like, what if dinosaurs never were extinct, what would they look like now? And there's that, like, famous thing that, like, somebody made of, like, a dinosaur that, like, evolved to be, like, on two legs, and it was, like, a humanoid, but it, like, was, like, reptilian kind of looking, and it looked almost like an alien. And I was like, dude, this is really cool. And then you watch this movie, and it's essentially like the cheapest Star Trek crap like that they could have done. Like they didn't even like go to the. I think a couple people have like prosthetics on their faces, but that makes even less sense. Like, did these people just not evolve or what? They act like evolution happened yesterday. But anyway, that was like you were saying. That was just kind of more so, less so that it's like doesn't make sense, but more so like that it was just kind of disappointing.
Mm-hmm. So this is what this is going to be. Okay.
Yeah. I think a lot of that was done so they could just be like, let's have actors show their faces. It's kind of like in Avengers 1 when they all land and Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man for some reason in a full suit of armor surrounded by bad guys has the fucking face come off of it. And I'm like, what if one of them just shot you in the fucking face right there? It makes no sense.
It's like when Lando pulls down his mask for no reason, just to show the audience that he's there.
Yeah, he's like... It's like, huh?
His only disguise, and it's just like...
It reminds me of an episode of wrestling where fucking Hogan was like playing this character called Mr. America. And like, he passed all these tests, like, are you like a truth, whatever the fuck it's called, like a lie detector thing. And he's like, are you Mr. America? And he's like, no. And it's like, yeah, he's telling the truth. And then at the end of the whole thing, he pulls his mask up and he's like, shh, at the camera. And then next week, Mr. McMahon just fired his ass. He's like, I saw you on fucking camera. And I was like, dude, What the fuck? They do have Koopa coins in this, which some old lady tries to, like, fucking rob them. She has, like, a shock stick, and then she, like, falls off, like, the bicycle guy and, like, causes a pileup.
So what do you think of Dennis Hopper in this movie?
I love Dennis Hopper. He's great in anything, honestly.
What's he better in, this or Hoosiers? You're like...
I almost said Hoosiers, because that's, like,
an actual great
more
movie.
acclaimed movie.
Yeah. You don't have to answer that either.
I actually, you know what? I have a note later on, but I'll talk about it now. He flips out, and it reminded me of him in Fiddler's Green in Land of the Dead.
Oh, yeah.
He plays a very similar character where he's kind of like all authoritarian. He's the kind of like the governor, the head honcho, and he's just like great at everything. I mean, he was.
Have you ever seen Waterworld?
Yes.
That's probably my favorite of his villain characters, the Deacon.
Yeah,
he's hilarious.
He's really good in like he's on like on a Gorillaz track.
Really?
He narrates like some stuff in one of the things. It's really, really awesome. Like it's, I don't know. He's one of those actors like, you know, Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo, Dennis Hopper. Like they're some of the shining lights in this film that you're like, and thank God they're big parts of this film. Because otherwise, if this had, like, followed some random fucker, I'd be like...
Aldo.
Kill me. Aldo. He's like, here we are. Here we are. So we've got this character that they put in. It's like Toad. And it's like another one of those things where, like, here's Toad. He's like an activist that sings a song. And, his little song here is ain't got no water anywhere, so everybody's dead. Food is bad, so is the air. Got no resources in a great big stupa, all because of the evil King Koopa. Then instantly the cops roll up and arrest his ass. I thought it was kind of... He's like, says all this shit, and then he says got no resources. I'm like, you could have just said that, But this guy's got, I will kind of give him, I don't know if I should give him props, but like on his head, they have like, kind of like they make his little like, like his little hat.
Like a mushroom top?
Yeah.
I didn't notice that.
So
I have a question though. Okay. So when they put him in the de-evolving machine and turn him into a Goomba, why did he grow like 9 feet tall? Because he wasn't super tall. Because that machine, they like just put your head in it and it changes, but when he came out of it, he was like huge.
I've got a whole page on the de-evolution machine here, because that not only is that one thing that I had on here that you already kind of talked about, that it's like if you took like the Big Show and shrunk his head is essentially what happens. Like for some reason their heads are tiny but their bodies are fucking ginormous, which is like somehow the opposite of what a Goomba is. Yeah. Their feet are huge and their fucking bodies are...
Yeah. I think the puppetry of the faces is really cool.
Yeah,
but I mean... The Goombas, they're terrible. They're really stupid looking in this movie.
The Goombas are... like, the puppetry, like, is awesome in this, because Yoshi's awesome, too. Like, the way it looks, and it, like, moves around, and you're like, you believe, like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome. But like you said,
that was also another disappointment for me. Like that's Yoshi.
When I saw, at the time when I saw it, I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me, dude?" It was a lot of like. It almost feels like. I mean, this movie could have been anything, but it's almost worse. Especially, I mean, I kind of like appreciate it more as an adult and just kind of take it for what it is. But as a kid, wanting to see Mario on the screen and kind of be like, I'm validated for liking this thing that's geeky. Like, at the time, Mario was not cool. If you liked Mario, you were like a fucking piece of shit. Or you weren't a piece of shit, you were a loser. A geek.
And I'm all for, like, a different vision, or, like, it doesn't have to look exactly like it does in the games.
But it's not anything to do with that. It's, like, it's all about, like you were saying, like, there's no...
It's just stupid looking.
There's very little to do with the source material. So it's like, this would have probably been way better if they had just not even had Mario involved and just, like, as far as the names or, like, the...
If you just called this movie Dino Hatton. And, like,
right.
Then it'd be a lot different.
Yeah. there wouldn't have been any. It probably would have got better reviews because I think a lot of people were just disappointed with like, what the fuck? Like this has nothing to do with Mario. So I want to talk about the devolved chair or station, I guess. But the thing has like different settings. It has like evolve or de-evolve. Then it has like primordial, Jurassic, Cretaceous, now, and advanced. Cretaceous and Jurassic were spot on because it said like what the years were. Like Jurassic was 180 million years, 65 million years. Primordial says 500 billion years, but it's closer to around 3.7 to 4 billion years ago. It's like the primordial soup. So I was like, okay, that's kind of a little off there. But like, why would you have to select like evolve or devolve? The thing's like super. I would assume this thing is like pretty like advanced to be able to manipulate DNA. But if you put somebody in the fucking chair and you why would you have to select evolve or devolve if they're fucking like already like a human or like a, I guess in this it's like a reptile, and you go primordial? Why would you have to like? What if you pressed evolve? Like that wouldn't do shit. I don't know.
I love how you're really picking apart the workings of this stupid made up bullshit.
Hell yeah, dude. I don't know.
It's a good point. I can't argue.
I just thought it was
valid question.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like Star Trek.
The user interface is terrible.
Like, it makes no sense because it's like, just the way that it's like set up. Because later on they do have a part where like they take the two idiots and they advance them, which I thought was like kind of funny because once they do that, they like lose all real need to like for like aggression, which like a lot of, you know, that's kind of how it is. Like once you kind of have the knowledge and are smarter, it seems like there's almost all aggression leaves people the more they know, or like the more like the more their mind is kind of open to the world and understanding they are. So it's like before they were like, yeah, we'll do whatever the fuck you say, but like
sniffing wieners,
right? once they were evolved, they stopped sniffing wieners and started saying fuck you, Koopa.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that was a funny touch.
Let's see here. So they put Mario in the police car and he says, I'm being arrested for being a plumber, but his mouth isn't moving. Some good ADR there. They have this weird way to stop the cars at the police station. They drive full force at the fucking wall, and this bungee stops them.
It's kind of like what they have on aircraft carriers
and I was
to
like,
stop
what
planes.
if that fucking breaks? Like,
also, why in the first place?
Right. Cameras have laser pointers on them, and they look like guns. And it's like, how would the laser pointer not show up on the picture? I guess as opposed to like when you like, I don't know why the laser pointer is even there because it's like lining up the thing, even though it's already there. I didn't realize this till now after watching this. I realized Mario and Luigi are actually wearing the opposite colors they normally wear. Really? Luigi's wearing a red hoodie and Mario's wearing like a green jacket of sorts throughout most of the film. The only time they wear their regular colors is when they finally switch into those random suits they find.
That will allow the toy companies to make more action figures.
Yeah. I thought this was funny though, talking about like Toad evolving or being devolved. Which actually I just thought of something that makes no sense too, because if he's being devolved, did they like, is that what they used to look like? The dinosaurs at one point evolved to be like 20 feet tall and be like Herman monsters with tiny heads. But like he gets fucking de-evolved and go through the whole process of explaining it to him. Like fucking Dennis Hopper goes through this whole thing and they're like, oh my god, I can't believe it. And then randomly Luigi's like, is that Toad? And I was like, is this a deleted scene? He literally just told you what the fuck happened and you agreed and then he asked you again.
Yeah, that's A lot of this movie's like
I
that.
thought it was funny because right in front of the de-evolve chamber, there's like a big bunch of green diarrhea. So I was like, do people shit their pants after this? Or like, what the fuck is
So
this?
they turn someone into full ooze?
Yeah, I guess that could be true. When they go to like turn Koopa in that chair for like 5 seconds, or whatever, the Dennis Hopper, they strap him down, but like Luigi goes over to like the one guy that looks like the Jurassic Park lawyer that's like working the machine, and he runs up to him, and the guy's like for like 5 seconds, and then he like punches him, and I'm like Dr. Doak style over here. But it's like so quick. He's like, why?
Do you think that they based Koopa in this movie off of Donald Trump?
I never thought about that till now, actually, but yeah, he looks like a lot like him because he's got like the blonde, slick back hair kind of, or like his haircut, and like he acts kind of like a total douchebag. I mean, especially now, but yeah. They could have. I don't know. I didn't really think about it till you just said that.
Yeah, it's something I thought about. Could be.
Yeah. So there was like a funny thing here. Let's see if I can pull it up on my phone. It's not like it's like just a picture or whatever that I thought was that I thought was kind of weird. But like, so they're escaping on that zip line or whatever, and they have all these like prisoners that are like locked up. Like in the movie or whatever, like when they're first trying to get out, and let me see if I can find it here.
They're like, "Woo, go Mario Brothers!"
Yeah,
who we never heard about until
like
5 seconds ago.
Out. But like, why the fuck is this one guy not locked up? You see that? He's on the bottom.
He's
and
outside the gate.
Yeah, he's outside his prison thing, and he's like, I thought that was really weird because I was like, huh?
That's funny.
One of the things that I saw.
An extra just got loose, basically, is what happened there.
Yeah. And I think he was too scared to say anything, so he's like, fuck it. So in the police car, one poster, Luigi and Mario flash on the screen, and it says, like, oh, you know, alien plumbers. And Luigi says, aliens? We gotta deal with aliens too? And Mario says, Luigi, we're the aliens. And Luigi says, we are? Wow, cool. Another
funny dialogue.
Great thing between Mario and Luigi. They end up driving on top of another car, which is very like Roger Rabbit style. It was very
during the
goofy.
lowest speed car chase I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
like it's cool, but
they
didn't have much to work with.
It's very like what's it called? After School Special.
Yeah.
But like the guys like they're on top of another car and the guy's driving, and he's like, I hope the guy downstairs knows what he's doing, and I thought he was like talking about the Dark Lord.
The man downstairs.
Yeah, I was like, Jesus! They go into the Koopa Desert Tunnel, which I didn't realize that till this time I'd watched it.
Nice touch.
Yeah. King Koopa says, do you know what I love about mud? It's clean and it's dirty at the same time. I looked this up, but I didn't find anything about like mud being clean at all.
You really put in the man hours to do the research on this one.
I knew this was going to be the only time we were going to talk about this, so.
I mean, you could eat a bunch of mud and probably be okay.
And have butt mud.
He's like, I hate sand.
Speaking of which, they're walking around in the desert, and like Luigi's walking around with a shirt on because apparently he's super hot. But Mario's not only wearing a shirt but his jacket as well, which I was like, "What's the temperature here?" Like,
he's already got a shirt of hair underneath that. What'd you call him last? A hedgehog?
Yeah, he's like a hedgehog. Dennis Hopper is like, around his eyes are super red throughout this whole film, which I was like, is that makeup they put on him, or was he just like fucking? I heard he raged a couple times in this film, like at the people making it. Like,
yeah,
because there was constant like he would just throw away the scripts each day because by the time that he got on set, they would switch what everybody was gonna do or say anyway. So like he just said, "What's the fucking point?" But he was like flipping out, like, "I'm a fucking actor. This is bullshit." And I was like,
I forget what podcast it was, but I think you heard it too. Like, there was a guy who was brought in to, like, do some rewrites on the movie, and he told a story about how basically he was, like, the whipping boy for Dennis Hopper.
Yeah.
And, like, they put him up to, like, be the brunt of Dennis Hopper's rages.
Yeah.
And he was like, I went into a room and Dennis Hopper yelled at me for an hour.
Yeah.
Like, he's totally out of control.
Yeah, one of the guys...
Stupid movie.
The guy that plays Spike was talking about how, like, him and the other guy, like, Spike and Iggy, like, the actors that played him, were there, and he just went off and started going ape shit and was like, I'm a fucking actor, this is bullshit, you know, like, and all this crap. And they were like, well, what do you want us to do? We'll do whatever you want. Like, the directors were saying that, and he's like, you know, do we want us to rewrite it or do this or do that? And he's like, I'll just do it how it says. But I think he was so frustrated. It was like, he fucking went ape shit, so he, like, kind of went out, but, like, Luigi and Mario, John Leguizamo and Bob Hoskins just always were drinking to get through it. So people dealt with it in different ways. I don't know. It seemed like it was...
I think this was one of Bob Hoskins' last, like, big American movies, because I think he went back to making British, like, smaller British movies for most of his career after this.
I wonder why.
This is like the straw that broke the camel's back. So I was looking at his filmography, and like pretty much after this, it's like a ton of movies that I've never heard of. They're just like smaller British stuff.
Except for that one movie where he played like a dude that like turned like Jet. Who was it? Was it Jet Li into like
Danny
a
the dog
or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, he's a fucking dog. I'm like, huh? Koopa coming out like a freaking molester over here. That was fucking weird. Like he's kind of, you know, just being really weird and slimy, like because he says this line, you know what they say about little girls? They never forget the first time they were kissed by a lizard. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, nobody says that. I don't know.
They do in Dino Hatton.
Ah, it's a saying I've heard many times.
What did you think of Samantha Mathis in this movie as Daisy?
She was fine. I didn't piss her off. She didn't like make me mad. I personally didn't piss her off, man. Yeah, like I didn't have an issue with her at all. I mean, like she was fine. I think for a lot of people, it was weird to see no mention of a Princess Peach, who's like Mario's love interest, and for Princess Daisy, who is in canon, like with Luigi and stuff in the games and stuff.
I didn't know that.
But like, she originally was a character that was in the Super Mario Land games that Mario rescued. Was Daisy, because she was she was fucking kidnapped by a fucking alien, like a Tortonga or whatever his fucking name was. And did you ever play those games, the Super Mario Land games?
I never had a Game Boy.
Oh, what? Wow. You're like, I
was waiting for the Virtual Boy.
I said, Daddy, I don't want a Game Boy. I want a Virtual Boy. And he was like, yee. He's like, look, son.
Poorly.
There's $20. And you bent down and he's like, slap you. What the fuck is wrong with you? So I didn't like this in the film then, and I didn't like it now where they kick Yoshi. And it's like, I was like, this fucking...
That's not what you want to see in your fun, like, popcorn movie.
This is like a movie for kids, but it's like Hook. They don't understand what the fuck they're doing. Mm-hmm. Like, Hook, it was because of the length, but in this movie, it's like even when they were talking about it, they were like, we're kind of pissed because we wanted it to be even darker. I'm like, this is based on a fucking, essentially, like at the time, maybe not so much, but especially now, that'd be like if they were like, let's do a dark Mickey movie. Like, this is built around family-friendly stuff.
Fantasia, they already did it.
Oh. So
they did it anyway.
So what the hell happened here? Spike and Iggy were driving around their little Mars rover and then just like ramped off a cliff, Abbott Hayes style.
I don't know, man.
I was like, eh.
Pretty much from here on out, nothing makes sense in this movie.
Yeah. I should have said that as soon as we started the podcast. This name calling between Luigi and Iggy and Spike is giving me flashbacks to Hook. It was like,
I hate that
this
stuff.
is like kid shit, and like Mario was just standing over here like, what the fuck is going on? I saw that Luigi tied him up with a rainbow belt, so that was kind of
like Rainbow Road.
Yeah, like progressive, I guess. Mario Luigi, not Martin Luigi. Ma Ann. But they're wearing gas masks, and they look like Riddler from the Batman. So they go to this, like, the dance place to, like, meet with this...
Big Bertha.
Yeah. But, did you notice that, like, at one point the crowd does this weird, like, jerky snake movement?
Yeah.
They all do this, like, thing where, like...
I thought that was cool.
And I was like...
That was cool.
I guess all reptiles evolved from the same reptile. But it was interesting. Yeah, it was, like, they do, like, almost, like, this, like, jerk kind of movement. This is another thing that kind of, like... I was never, like... I didn't like it, but I thought it was weird because it's, like... This is supposed to be a family film, but it's like Mario dances super inappropriately with this woman, Big Bertha, in a film that's meant for kids. He, like, goes to, like, grab this necklace in between her, like, boobs. And he's like... There's a part where they're
I
like...
didn't mind that. I thought it was pretty funny.
Oh, it's funny. It just was not appropriate. I feel like, because there's a part where they, like, are, like, dry humping and shit. But then we've got awesome shit here with the Walk the Dinosaur football going on, like, throwing around the fucking necklace and shit. But yeah, they goom act like Goomba. I was like,
it's something.
Yeah. Get over here, Pudgy Buns. She kisses Mario. So I don't know if this part was like an outtake or something, but he just says thanks, and I'm like, was he like thanking her for the kiss? Or?
I'm sure it was an outtake.
How are we going to get in there? I got 2 words for you. Impossible. Nothing's impossible, Mario. Improbable, unlikely, but never impossible. I hope you're right. I'm like, that's not true at all. So we've got, like, the previous king is, like, what'd you think about that? Like, the fucking Lance Hendrickson here playing fucking...
It was gross. But I was happy to see Lance. I totally... forgot he was in this movie.
Yeah, it's funny because I looked up on IMDb, like, who plays the fucking king again? And I didn't even know this because I don't think it's listed. I think this is some bullshit that somebody put on here. But, like, he's named King Bowser. And I was like, that makes even less sense.
Yep.
But yeah, he plays, like, the king in this film. One of the things I thought was kind of... I mean, obviously, this is just nitpicking, but whatever. What else am I going to do about talking about this fucking film? But, like, why would he turn him into, like, a fungus, but then give him the dignity of still having a throne there? Maybe for the end of the film, so when he turns back, he can have someplace to sit. So... I was actually kind of surprised when he orders pizza that there's not some tie-in here with a pizza, an actual pizza place, like, you know, Pizza Hut, but it's called, like, I don't know, Pizza Dinosaur. I don't know. That's fucking horrible. That makes no sense. But he calls them and he says, "I want the Koopa special." And the guy says with pterodactyl tail, and he's like, "Yeah, dino, lizard, hold the mammal, no worms, and spicy." And my question is, if, like, it's the Koopa special, why does he have to say all this extra shit? And wouldn't it just be like that normally? And if it's named after him and he wants all this stuff added to or taken off of it, why doesn't he just say that's the new special?
You've totally nailed the biggest flaw of this movie.
Again,
I can't argue that. It's almost like this movie's stupid.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I was kind of like, this is when I like took this note and I was just like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? That was what I couldn't believe. Yeah, you were talking about plumbing earlier, but, like, Mario says, treat your tools like a friend, keep them by you, never let them down, and they'll always be by your side. And they essentially are like, you know, we got this from, like, our grandfather and our father, so it's like just another little thing they put in the film that, like, Mario and Luigi are plumbers, and they've been, like, doing this. It's like essentially like they're, like, grandfathered into it, essentially. Like, they make the Goombas dance in the elevator, which I thought was What'd you think about that?
I was like, this should be a deleted scene, dude. Come on.
You know, it's funny.
It made no sense.
That wasn't in the original shit.
Come on.
So, you know why that's in the movie is because when they were getting these, like, the directors were getting all these, like, script rewrites and shit, they were like, they looked at it and, like, the lady was like, their continuity person was like, so, like, you know, from this point to this point, it like, I guess it, like, it didn't line up. So they were like, well, what the fuck are we going to do? Because I guess they had, like, something happen and it didn't line up. And so, like, I think, like, John Leguizamo just was like, well, what if we just, like, kind of, like, I don't know, I guess they kind of came up with some shit where they did that to kind of, like...
Great.
Yeah.
Fixed everything.
But to me, it makes me wonder what the fuck happened. Like, what was the thing that they had to, you know, like, why they have to put that in. So... I also didn't like this part in the film where Yoshi gets stabbed.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? But Luigi, like, makes them dance, and then for some reason they make a voluntary choice to partner up. It's like, takes it one step further.
What's the song that they're singing? It's like, nah,
yeah,
nah,
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 which comes into play later, because, like, fucking... You know what's funny is that the Goombas weren't supposed to be, like, a big part of this film, but I guess everybody on set thought they were so cool that they put them in more. So, like, that's why, like, at the end of the film, Toad plays that on his harmonica, and instead of helping them, the Goombas dance, and then Koopa hits him in the face like Mo from Three Stooges style, and they all four fall over. They, like, shit their pants. They're like, Mama. I thought this was really cool, though. He mentions, like, Daniela, I guess, and he's like, oh, he didn't know that she was there, and he's like, oh my god, I promised to take her to WrestleMania. And I was like, so what if Bob Hoskins took Daniela to WrestleMania, and there he saw Captain Lil Albano as Super Mario, and it would be the original MCU Mario Cinematic Universe.
And the universe would explode.
Yeah. I thought this part was really, really cool. Like, even when I was, like, watch it the first time, where they go through the air ducts on the mattress, like, they're, like, sliding.
Like the slide.
Yeah. I was like, dude, this is so cool.
It's like Mario 64.
Yeah. Very, very cool. Why didn't they use that song before the game came out?
That was like some good slide action.
Yeah. That'll be my next pick. Slide. You'll be like, oh. You're like 0 out of 9. Fuck. Some random dude says Hail Koopa and does a Nazi salute, and the other police officer just kind of ignores it. I thought that was weird. I was like, what? There gets to be a running joke of where Koopa keeps asking where his pizza is, and it finally shows up at the end of the movie, but he just never gets it.
Hilarious.
Yeah. I don't know why this is so stupid, but this part made me... It just encapsulates the whole thing, and it made me laugh. This dude calls up Dennis Hopper and says, Sir, the Goombas are dancing again. And Dennis Hopper says, deal with it. And I was just like... I don't know why. I think maybe because all of it's so stupid. I was just like cracking the fuck up. Dennis Hopper, like, his gun gets fucking, like, jammed, so he's, like, jerking it off, trying to get it to fire, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? That's not how you, like, unjam a gun. And that's the reason.
Yeah, but at this point, like, nothing making any sense, so it's kind of like anything can happen.
Jesus, anything?
Yeah.
Damn, you're right. You're just like Luigi. When you watch this the first time, would you think about it when the fucking, like, the Lena lady gets fucking, like, fossilized into a wall? I thought that was pretty fucked up. Like,
yeah,
when I first
she's
saw
a pretty annoying character, so
yeah.
I was happy to see her go.
Luigi turns into fucking Roger Moore over here, though. He's like, wow, she sure made an impression. I was like, Jesus!
That's good stuff.
What about when when they go into the real world and it's like, wow, Koopa's real. He's really here. And the Scapelli gets turned into an ape. And Koopa says, monkey. And I was like, huh? Did you see what the de-evolution guns were? You probably...
Yeah, they're like the Super Scope from Super Nintendo. Which
is funny because I watched like the documentary and they were like, yeah, we spend so much time on all these props and stuff. And it's like...
Not that one.
And they were like the de-evolution gun. And I was like, dude, I think somebody that worked on this told them, oh, we came up with this design. And they had no clue about the Super Scope. And they passed it off as their own...
Did you have a Super Scope?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
it was annoying.
We rented it one weekend. And
it was annoying
super
as
fun.
Fuck though, because the button to fire was on the top and there was no like trigger. It's like made zero fucking sense.
Yeah, and it was hard to get it calibrated right.
Yeah,
and stuff.
And it took like all the batteries in the house.
Like, but if you got through all that, it was fun.
It was fun. Yeah, I remember they had that one game, the Yoshi's thing, where you ride Yoshi and shoot on, and it was like really really cool.
Yeah, that's a good one.
We almost got a full King Koopa in this film, but not quite. We talked about that earlier, where he kind of turns into like, it's weird.
A pretty crappy looking puppet.
It's like a T-Rex, and then it's like switches between Dennis Hopper. First, he switches to like a weird, grotesque lizard alien looking thing.
And they shoot it pretty close up and like real fast cutting because I think they don't want you to really get a good look at it because it looks pretty crappy.
Because they do like CG, like early CG mixed with like practical stuff, mixed with like applied makeup to Dennis Hopper, and it's like you never fully get like a really cool King Koopa Bowser thing here. I think for me that was probably like the biggest letdown of the whole thing. Like you were saying earlier, is like not getting to really see these characters on film. Did you notice at the bottom of the Bomb-Bomb's shoes say Reebok? That was a blast from the past. I was like, Reebok?
That's funny.
And then everybody celebrates that Koopa's gone, and instantly there are people there with rollers painting over his thing. Like, I guess they were just waiting till he got fucked. I did write this earlier, and obviously this is another one of those, like, you know, whatever, it's a movie, but like Lance Hendrickson instantly turns back into his original form from being fungus after King Koopa dies, but it wasn't magic that like turned him into that, so somebody would have to shoot him with the evolution thing to he just instantly he's like but then comes like, for me when I watched this I was pretty disappointed in this because I knew that there wasn't another one, but like 3 weeks later Daisy shows up in like combat fatigues and is like, Luigi, Mario, you know, you guys got to come with me. I need your help. You know, like, why? What's wrong? You're not going to believe this. And Mario says, I believe this. And Luigi says, you do? And Mario says, I believe. And then it was like, never.
Marty, it's about your kids.
Yeah, never to have a sequel ever. This is one of the only films I can think of that ever did something this blatant. Like, there was no actual ending. It was like, there is going to be a sequel. And it just never happened. Can you think of another one?
I just always think of Remo Williams' The Adventure Begins. Like, they had the guts to put that as the title of their movie.
Yeah. That almost... it's one of those things where it's almost like, for a movie like that, if they had just played into it and it was like they knew it was going to be shit, or like they knew it wasn't going to have another one, it's like almost like parody. Like, oh, that's funny, you know, The Adventure Begins.
Loaded Weapon
1. And then, did you watch all the credits or no?
Yep.
Did you see the end credit here where like some Japanese businessmen show up and ask Iggy and Spike about appearing in a video game based on the incidents of the movie? But sadly, there was never a sequel. I don't know about... Yeah, so we've got some stuff here that happened for the documentary and other stuff. Dennis Hopper explains that, like, when he made the movie, like, I guess his daughter, who's older, was, like, now, like, talking about, like, you know, you're a pretty good actor. Why the fuck did you do this movie? And he was like, well, I did it so you could have shoes. And they were like, I don't need shoes that badly. I was like, what? Who the fuck would say that?
Money, obviously.
Bob Hoskins described in a 2011 interview with The Guardian, It was a fucking nightmare. The whole experience was a nightmare. It was a husband and wife team directing whose arrogance had been mistaken for talent.
Oh, wow.
And for so many weeks, their own agent told them to get off the set. Fucking nightmare. Fucking idiots.
Apparently he's a little bitter.
Yeah. So here's just a couple things from the documentary. The whole way that this got started was like the producer went to Kyoto to actually meet with the then head of Nintendo president. And he's like, well, why...
That meeting paid off.
Yeah, it did for him. But I guess what happened was like, he's like, well, why should we give this to you? You're kind of like an unknown as opposed to like Disney or Paramount. Because they were also like interested as well. But like, he was like, well, I'm here and they're not. And he was like, you're right. Here you go. And then Nintendo was also like, you can do whatever the fuck you want. We don't care. We're busy with the games. And it ended up being like the biggest mistake they've ever made. Well, not the biggest, but it was a complete fuck up.
Yeah.
Let's see here. The people they actually picked were like the people that did Max Headroom from back in the day. Which I didn't know that. I was like, oh, I didn't know they did that. The originals, the directors at first didn't want to do the originals, or didn't want to do the original script, which was more fantasy and closer to Super Mario Brothers, because they wanted kids to leave the theater to ask their parents, what the fuck did they just watch, to make them think. And I was like, okay. And it was going to be more adult, like Batman, like the Michael Keaton ones. So it's supposed to be even more dark. Here's some Bob Hoskins quotes from this documentary. I play Mario, the little guy that bounces up and down in the game.
That he does.
I used to do Shakespeare and wear tights, but now this little character that bounces up and down in the game. Mario has brought Luigi up. He's obviously a much younger brother. He's lost both parents in a way. He's brought him up, not just as a little brother, but as a friend. He's always been his best buddy. When asked the question, what does King Koopa do on his day off? He says he probably de-evolves people. That's sadly all the quotes we got from Bob Hoskins on this. He was like in his chair, just like, get me the fuck out of here. Like,
good stuff.
John Leguizamo says Super Mario Brothers, the movie, is the prequel to the Nintendo game. So,
okay,
that was interesting. Interestingly enough, like the people that played, like the actresses that played Daisy and like Lena, like Fiona Shaw, they were like in character the whole time.
I always like when
so like
on behind the scenes.
Fiona Shaw was like, you know, I'm not a huge fan of Daisy. She's a piece of shit and all this stuff. And Daisy's like, I think she's jealous. I was like, they're like, they seem to possibly actually have fun on the movie.
Good for them.
There's just so much shit John Leguizamo said. I don't really think there's anything worthwhile other than the whole thing about him talking about how he lied to them and said, oh yeah, I can totally drive. And he didn't really know how to. And like he slammed on the brakes and fucking crushed Bob Hoskins' hand. And like he started fucking screaming and like, you know, like crying and shit like that. Let's see if I can find the actual quote here when he crushed his fucking hand. It was essentially like he went into like some expletives and stuff like that. Oh yeah, here he says, you know, I broke his hand in the movie. I was supposed to drive the big Super Mario Brothers fan, and I'm not a really great stunt driver, but I wanted to show off here. Bob is standing there, and I stepped on it, and it was manual, and I stepped really hard on the accelerator, and it wasn't locked because it was like a sliding door. So I was going super fast, and he came to a stop, and it flew onto his hand, and he was like running out there, oh blimey, my geezers, fucking my hand broke, and like saying all this shit. Had to do a bunch of pickup shots, he said. Shocking.
Yep.
And I guess he says, like, now he's kind of shocked because kids come up to him and like, holy shit, it's Luigi Mario. Because, like, for the longest time, people were, like, fucking shitting on this. It's the second time. And the only Dennis Hopper quote we have here is, I play King Koopa, the Lizard King. Like, he's like, kill me.
Some hard-hitting commentary right there.
Yeah. Let's see if there's anything else here. Yeah, okay, so this is actually a kind of a weird, random thing that, like, because they actually, Lance Hendricks is on here for, like, one interview, and he says, I guess like the guy, the producer, was like they're really close friends. And he's like, would you do me a favor and go like shoot for a day for me as like, you know, the king? And I said, well, you just gave me this major role, so absolutely. And he's like, I was thinking this character was like in suspended animation, so go get me a box of Rice Krispies, and when I coughed to expel the fungus, it was Rice Krispies. So I guess he was like, you know, blew it out of his hand. And he's like, I was looking down and I saw this lady in this summer dress with the greatest legs. Fast forward to a year later and we were married. So Super Mario Brothers spawned life.
Nice.
Yeah. And then there's actually, you talked about Siskel and or did we talk about Siskel and Ebert or not?
Mm-mm.
But essentially, we watched it earlier and like they were just like, fuck this movie. But the producer, I think he was kind of like bitter about that in the documentary. So he said, I think it may have been Siskel or Ebert. I forget which one. I think actually they said, don't take your child to see this movie, which is, we watched the thing and I don't think they said that at all.
Yeah, I don't remember him saying that.
And I don't know why they did that. I think they were protective of something that didn't exist. They wanted to keep games out of cinema. I don't know what their particular crusade is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much... John Leguizamo talks about how he was kind of hired and stuff. He was doing, like, a show called, like, Spicorama, and, like, they came to see him and were, like... He was kind of confused because he was like, why would you want to see this raunchy, you know, show I'm doing to see if I'm good for Luigi? Because, like, he's like, that's, like, a kid's thing. He's like, I don't know how it would help, but they were like, yeah, we'll put you... You know, we want you to be, you know... spunky and like have all this attitude and stuff, and he's like, okay, but he was kind of like, what, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I watched that fucking all the documentaries and everything, and it was a lot of recycled crap, and it didn't really seem like anybody was really pointing fingers, but a lot of it was like we were kind of surmised, even if there wasn't a documentary. Like, it started off one way, but it just kind of took like a shit show turn of like running out of money, you know, the studio and all this other crap wanting like to cut down costs, and then like the producers kind of being like, we weren't exactly sure where things were going, and the directors being like, we aren't going to get our vision, so we'll just do whatever we can to finish it. The directors weren't even there for the end of the film. I think like 3 months before they got kicked off, and then essentially everybody else had to finish the film. So I don't know, man.
It shows.
Oh, I know, Obi. So, yeah. Do you have anything else to say about this fucking film?
No, I think we pretty much did it.
What do you have to say for
for rating?
Yeah.
I'll go 6.95. This movie is definitely like interesting, and worth seeing. But like you said, you pointed out, like, it's totally stupid and a lot of stuff makes no sense.
Yeah.
But that's okay. It's still highly entertaining, and you got Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo.
True.
How about you?
I agree. Even though I shit on it the whole time, I'm going to give it like a 9.95.
Hey, that just means you like it.
I half did that because I wanted to see your reaction.
That just, you know.
Yeah.
It's an interesting movie.
I honestly can't think of anything I didn't like about it now after watching it again, but this movie is not Super Mario Brothers. Your face, you were like, huh?
It's pretty funny.
So, what, 9.95 is like a perfect rating. People are asking what that means. Every movie we rate is out of 9.95. So, I guess, what? Hey, you're just like cracking the fuck up over here.
It's about what you like.
You don't have anything to say, you're just like...
Yeah.
So, what about next week? It's Matt week.
All right, for Weird Watches,
yeah.
I don't have a theme like you did for this week, so sorry about that. But
that's okay, it doesn't have to be a
Weird
theme.
Watches is going to be Fridays, which was
the
competitor to Saturday Night Live.
I've never Never heard of it. The only one I've ever heard of was Mad TV.
Yeah.
Can I guess the feature?
Sure.
Do I get a hint?
You're never going to guess it. We're going back to the 70s.
That's the hint. Okay, give me a hint then.
The main reason I would pick this movie is because Nichelle Nichols, who's Uhura from Star Trek, is in it.
Oh, okay.
Playing a pimp, and she's awesome.
Okay, yeah, I'm never going to fucking get this.
Truck Turner!
Yeah, I would have never... Another thing I've never heard of before. Okay, I can't spell.
Truck Week.
Truck Truner.
It's going to be Truck Week.
Truck Week.
Starring Isaac Hayes and Nichelle Nichols.
Kind of surprised that you didn't pick like a action film or something. Unless this is an action film. Okay.
Mario Brothers is an action film.
That's true.
I saw lots of action.
There was
that car chase was
ridiculous explosion for no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's wait for you to pull out another Bound or Glenn or Glenda.
Hopefully this will be it.
Yeah. I've never heard of either one of these, so I can't really say shit about them.
I've never seen Fridays. I've always wanted to. So
nice. Yeah, I'm pretty excited for to check it out. So
Truck Week.
In honor of Luigi, let's end this the right way. So this is going to be up Monday, as with all the other podcasts. They're already on there on SteakBone164 on YouTube. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter. And yeah, do you have anything else to say about, this whole Mario thing, man? You want to play your Mario games? The next one's going to have a fucking nooper.
It was so awesome. This is going to be a toss-em up. It's like...
yeah, what do you have to say for yourself? Or not...
do you have any closing remarks?
Thank you so much for playing my game.
Bye.
Shit.